Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and gentlemen, thank you for being here, for your service. Secretary Driscoll, thank you for coming to Alaska recently. I want to talk to you about some of the Arctic initiatives. Super proud of our 11th Airborne. But before I do, I want to talk about the people who are executing this extraordinary mission. We talk a lot about the lethality and what it is that we do. Whether it is the assets, the equipment, or the training that goes into it. But so many of these folks, everybody has family back home, right? Maybe it's a mom and dad, maybe it's your wife and a couple kiddos. I have been concerned with some information that just came to my attention, like within the past week, with regards to the Family Advocacy Program. This is responsible for the prevention, the identification, and coordinated response to whether it's child abuse, neglect, domestic or intimate partner violence. These are things that we don't want to acknowledge go on within our military because we want to think that everybody's just okay and everybody's holding together, but our military are just reflections of what happens in the general society out there. And so there are problems, there are issues, and we need to be there for those families. I learned that Fort Wainwright has lost all of its family advocates. So they don't have anybody there at Fort Wainwright. We've dealt with some challenges, as you know, in Fort Wainwright in some recent years with suicides. We want to think that we're getting a handle on some of these, but these kinds of supports are so critically important because it's not only those within our military, but they're working closely with other partners in the community. The community itself doesn't have the resources to help stand this up. So I know that what we've heard is some have accepted the voluntary early retirement or the separation buyout, but I'm worried that with the current hiring freeze, we may have some really critical positions that are not in the news until something bad happens. So I would just ask for your commitment, Secretary Driscoll, that you can look at support for family advocacy programs, make sure that we're not leaving our military families without the support, and maybe even exempt the program positions from the hiring freeze if you're seeing that that's part of the challenge. Can you speak to that?
So, Senator, we will follow up with your office on this. Just to qualitatively just say, what General George and I are not trying to do in anything is, when we say show our math for these cuts, we also mean show the math or acknowledge the warts and the issues that our soldiers have. For the Army's 250th birthday this past weekend, General George hosted us, and I had probably 18 guys who I had deployed with came in for it. I hadn't seen a bunch of them in 15, 16, 17 years, and it was amazing hearing their stories, but also their tragedies that service has cost, and we need to acknowledge that. And so very sincerely between the two of us, we want to work with the Army's leadership who also cares to fix these things. And then just to the waiver authority, for the United States Army, I get a weekly report of waiver requests. As far as I know, we have always approved waivers for this type of position. And so we will look, but we will double down on our commitment to make sure we're not accidentally blocking anybody from being hired.
I appreciate that greatly.
Can I just add
Yes.
one thing, Senator?
General.
We use Alaska as a perfect example, very tight-knit group, people that are up there love it up there, but it has different needs. And so that's the other thing that we're trying to do is look at areas very specifically, what they need up there in Alaska. So I just throw that on because, we put a lot of energy in making sure it's a different environment in mostly positive ways, but making sure that we're also reinforcing it that way as well.